The real estate frenzy that we've seen for much of the past few years is beginning to subside. And as we head into 2019, buyers are going to be able to take a little more time in scrutinizing and picking out that home that they want. What that means for sellers is they're going to have to spend a little more time and effort in getting that house prepared for sale. And one of the things at the top of the list in preparing your home for sale is landscaping. And today with us, we have lead landscape designer with Bradford Greenhouses Garden Gallery, Audriana VanderWerf. So stay tuned. Welcome to Hitting Home with Mike and Arif. I'm Mike Montague. I'm here with Arif Khan and Audriana from Bradford Greenhouses Garden Gallery.
Hi.
And I noticed this morning getting in the car, the snow was melting. It felt a little bit like spring.
Nice.
So landscaping and
maybe a little
gardening is
wishful
on.
thinking, but
Yeah, a little bit wishful. It's still early to be getting too excited about it. But
Well, I'm always
this
excited
is-
about it.
Yes, so tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so as the lead designer at Bradford Greenhouses, I do on-site consultations, landscape designs, master plans, project management.
You're involved from start to finish on
Absolutely,
these
I
projects.
am. It's a one-stop shop with me, yes.
Okay, and we're going to look at today, we're going to go through some photos, before and after shots as well. But what would you be telling people right now? It is still early, it's still winter,
It's not
even though
early.
it feels a little bit like spring.
Wyerton
Is it
Willie
time to
said
start
no
it?
shadow. It's going to be an early spring, so we're 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
So what should we be doing right now in preparation?
You should be designing right now. You should be having consultations with professionals
Yes.
and getting the ball rolling. Everybody wants to be first in the spring.
And not everybody wants to invest the money into the landscaping when they think they can do it themselves. But would you say that maybe at least having a consultation
I would.
is the least you should do? If you want to get your hands dirty, do it yourself. Have some professional guidance on it, though. Would you not say?
I would, and absolutely, I really love do-it-yourselfers. I think it's great that they want to do it. There are a lot of buts
Once it's in,
when that goes.
yeah. Once it's in,
Yeah.
it's yours, and you
Yes.
can continue to maintain
Yes.
it. But bring the professionals.
Bring
in
the
at
professionals
beginning.
in, even if it's just to get to outside eyes,
Yes.
to
'Cause-
have a look at and listen to what you're thinking of doing and see the feasibility of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so what are some of the common mistakes that people don't really think about?
Okay, budgeting is one thing.
Okay.
And imagining the scope of the project. For example, they might go to a big box store and get some prices on pavers, interlocking pavers, but they don't understand that they need the base material. They need the
Yeah, the
screed,
tamping and
the
screening and-
tamper, the joint sand,
Yeah.
everything like that. So
Well, I can tell you from personal experience, there have been 1,000 times when I looked at a canvas, at a blank canvas, or at the potential, and what I
Yeah.
envisioned in my mind,
Yeah.
and what I was able to actually produce later on,
Yeah.
they did not look the
Yeah,
same
that's
at
right.
all. At all. But
I hear that a lot.
So you know, I mean, isn't that the truth, though? Right?
Yes.
Some of the things that I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What are the things that you know? Soil conditions, climates, where the plant's going to thrive in what side of the house, and what plants work well together. So
Absolutely.
where am I supposed to start?
And it's not just plants. It goes beyond plants into drainage and grading. Where do you start?
Yeah.
You start with gathering information, gather your ideas, and call a designer.
And just to put some perspective on that, we were talking a few moments ago just about cost and how that might be hesitant for some people. But when you look at it, like the statistics say that a good landscape job in a home can add anywhere from 5, 10, even 15% to the value. And if you look at those neighborhoods where overall the homes have far better landscaping than some of the lesser neighborhoods, they're the ones that people are trying to take me as a realtor to. That's where everybody wants to live, and that in itself adds value to
Well,
them.
you're an opener, Mike. I mean, you made the facts very clear. If it is a buyer's market, what's going to separate me choosing the one house on the left compared to the house on the right? And for 5, 10, and 15%, you could be talking on an average of what, a $500,000 home price. 10% is $50,000. So you know, you're looking at there's your ballpark on where you should be investing in terms of what you're going to get out in return.
And if I may add, regardless of how well the home is finished inside, once you pull into that driveway, that landscaping sets the tone.
You've
for
got
that
your
visit to
impression,
the
your
home.
first impression.
Yes,
So
exactly.
let's go through some of that. We've got some graphics from you, which is really the first stage, which is conception.
Yes.
And maybe you can take us through some of these. We've got a couple. They're
Yep.
not necessarily
Okay.
specific to our photos that are going to come in the next segment.
Right.
But why don't you take us through to what we got on the screen here?
Okay, so this is a front entrance. It's for a very urban property, and the people liked balance and symmetry and that kind of thing. I don't particularly like symmetry per se, but balance is hugely important in landscape design. So I worked with this couple to bring them a walkway that was suited to they love to entertain. They always have company. Why have a 3-foot walkway? So I broadened out the walkway, had some entrance urns there, and that led up to the existing
It's a grand
landing.
entrance, isn't it?
It is.
And it's a more
It
usable
is.
space now.
And I haven't met anyone who shouldn't have a grand entrance.
Now let me ask you this though. You said you don't like symmetry so much as you like balance. I'm trying to visualize that. Today we're starting to see new home designs that are much more modern, the flat roof style,
Yes.
with a very
Minimalist,
modern,
yeah.
some good,
Asymmetrical walls and rooftops.
et cetera.
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. So how does that? How does your choice of landscaping work with the style of the home? Let's go with that as a question.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
I look at architecture first, okay? I meet the people and I get to know them, of course, and their lifestyle and their needs, but absolutely the architecture plays a big role.
Okay, so let's pull up the next design and see how that compares.
Okay, well, the next design is a backyard.
Okay.
So in this case, it's a very small backyard with a garage right in the middle.
So the garage is to the left, seating area to the right.
That's
as
right.
We're seeing it
That's
here.
right. So the couple were ecstatic to see that all of their yard could still be used, even though their garage was right in the middle. So it's really a functional use of space.
You even brought the space in around the side of the garage in that one too, into play.
Yes, yes.
That's great.
And I drew the eye there too with a water feature in between.
So we've only got a few seconds left before we go to break, but one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing and discussing in the next segment really is first and foremost what you were talking about, Mike, in terms of the before and afters of what a house could look like and might get in terms of on the
Yeah.
market versus what it could get if you put a little bit of enhancement
Yeah.
into it, a little bit of thought, creativity. But you
Absolutely.
can do this on a budget for a maximum return as well.
You
So
absolutely can.
okay, so when we come back from the break, we'll dive into that. And we've got a fun part coming up in the third segment as well. We're going to talk about the difference between basically what people are talking about with staycation properties and how to
Yes.
turn your backyard into an oasis. But when we get back, let's stay to the business of real estate and the transaction.
Yes.
And you'll take us through some before and afters, which are
Absolutely.
great. Thanks very much. We'll be right back on Hitting Home with Mike and Arif. Welcome back to Hitting Home with Mike and Arif, and we're joined by Audriana VanderWerf, who is the lead landscape designer from Bradford Greenhouses Garden Gallery. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Before the break, we were talking about really the key, which is the question, do it yourself or hire a professional, and what are some of the benefits of hiring a professional? We're going to look at some photos. We're going to look at some before and afters. Give us a bit of an intro in terms of what are the things that somebody who's contemplating a redesign should be looking at when they're standing out on the street looking back at their house. Take us through how you guide the client.
Okay, so a lot of the time the client knows that they need a change, that something's not sitting right with them. They have an idea, but they don't know for sure.
Okay.
Or they have no idea.
Right.
So-
My challenge is always, I look at it's hard to visualize the transition, what it will look like. It's
Good.
hard for a lot of people.
That's a really good point. Yes, that's true. They can't visualize. I see everything in silhouettes as soon as I look at a place, and then I just plop in the elements.
So the bottom line there is that a client may know that they have a problem and not know what it is. They may not even know that they've got a problem.
Right?
Okay, all right. I've been living there 20 years, and it's what I know. So
That's right. That's right. And there's time for a change. What will that change be?
Those juniper bushes and everything you planted 20 years ago that you're still in love with, but now they're 3 times larger than they
Oh, yes,
really should be
yes.
for the setting. But they've grown so slowly that people don't see that change.
That's right.
So, and if we're selling a house, one of the key things I think a realtor and a home stager and a landscape designer, I mean, I think they go very well hand in hand is, hey, it may work for you, you may be comfortable for it, but we're not selling it to you. We're selling to someone else.
That's right.
Yes.
Fresh
And
sets
what
of
did it,
eyes will come
fresh
in.
set of eyes. Okay, so why don't you take us through, we've got some
True.
shots, Ron's going to bring up a first image here and guide us through what we're looking at here.
Okay. Okay, so this was a lady who is an empty nester, and she loved the privacy that the shrubs provided. However, it was so dark in her living room.
There's a house
So,
behind there.
yeah, there is. We're far out there.
Exactly.
So
Oh,
okay.
we've cleaned it up quite a bit.
Okay.
Brought it out with a little bit of a yin and yang garden style there. If you see the garden that is on the left there,
Very nice.
that
It
will
creates sort of
provide
a
the
natural
front.
pathway around the house.
That's
there
right.
through
That's
grass.
right.
Yeah.
And now you can. She has all the light she needs. We brought the walkway out to in front of the garage. When I was growing up, all the garages were at the side of the house or at the back of the house. Now with the new architecture, everything's in front.
We have garages with the houses attached to the back of them.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
yes.
But what you're able also to do there, I noticed, is you took some hard lines and you actually really softened them with the angles of the garden. But you've also
Absolutely.
got the interlock that you introduced there, rounding it out as well.
And
So-
that brings the front door up to in front of the garage. Okay? So that you are not just bound by the definition of the garage. There's actually a front door
Was this lady staying or selling?
staying.
She was staying.
Yeah.
Okay, so you really
But
introduced
that is a great point for selling.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But what,
Yeah.
you should not always wait until just before you sell to do these projects. You want to get the enjoyment out of it yourself.
Oh, but people
in the
detail
time.
their cars just before they sell them as
I know.
well,
Your
right?
house never looks
That's
better
an
than
excellent
your-
point.
You don't
That's
want to
an
sell the
excellent
car
point.
once you've detailed it, right?
I
So-
can't
it's
tell you how many
amazing.
times I've heard people say, "Oh, now we should stay."
Yeah,
After it's all
absolutely.
done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
I hate
something
when
for
you do that.
consideration.
Yeah.
Let's take a
Hate
look at
that.
the next one. Next set.
Oh, I drove around the block 3 times looking for the entrance to this house.
Wow.
So yeah, that was the first thing I recommended, is that we clean up a little bit.
Should have a no hunting sign on it.
There we go.
Wow, there is a house behind there.
And what a great house it was.
Beautiful.
You don't have to crawl up beside the car to get to the front door anymore. You can pull up right up front and use the beautiful stone steps.
I like
And
the
it is
stone at
minimalist.
the curb there.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Because you always, with the salt through the winter and that, the grass has a hard time growing right
Absolutely. Let's keep going there, Ron.
This is more urban than the last shot, but the same kind of thing. They wanted to participate in the community, in the street that they live on, and they didn't want that cedar hedge in front of their home
there. Just
anymore.
as I was talking about those overgrown
Yeah.
bushes.
Yeah. And
Wow, you've really got a theme going on here, though. You're helping people like reveal what's behind the
Yes,
mask.
yes.
It opens the space up so much.
You know what's happening is people are sitting out front more and more.
Yeah.
And people are community minded, and they want to sit out front and they want to be accessible and welcoming. And that's what these
And you want
shows.
those people out walking at night to be complimenting you on your garden as they walk by.
Okay.
What have you got for us, Ron? Oh, Mike's favorite shot right here.
I like that one. You could probably make about 20 gallons of gin from that juniper bush there.
So if that was his goal, yeah,
Wow. No, that's again minimalist. You know, very simple. You've tiered it, or what do you call that? Is it called
it is
tiering?
a, it is a
Tiering, yeah.
tiering shot,
Terrace,
and
Terrace. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
the biggest point here is that people should know shrubs are not trees. They don't live forever. Those junipers that we saw there, 20 years old, no, they should have been gone at 7 years
So
old.
they'll get woody, they'll get
Yes,
dried out,
yes.
etc. So when we go to the after there, you're really seeing again. You've got some hardscaping.
Yes.
But you've also
the
got some
tiering.
mulch. You've got some very low maintenance. What do you call the
Ornamental grasses.
Ornamental grasses, etc. You've incorporated color. So I mean, I hate to say it. I don't know who the owner of the home is, but without all of that, it could be a very plain home. It could be a very boring home to
Well, the
look
house
at.
pops a little
but
bit
you
more.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're allowing it to pop.
And what a low budget change that was too.
And now, what about maintenance on this? How much does that become a factor when people are looking at what you're bringing to them for suggestions?
Okay, so maintenance is a factor that I've only been asked once in the last 25 years for a high maintenance garden
Okay.
by an English lady who wanted an English garden. Other than that, people want low maintenance, but
Yes.
that does not mean no maintenance. You've got to be willing to put in a bit of work every season,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's good therapy getting out there in the
It
garden,
absolutely
too.
is. It's
Yes.
soul food, really. Yeah.
Okay,
what do we
and
have next?
before we go to the break, we've got some new build pics here to take a look at. So this is so the ones that we looked at were obviously people who were living in there, and you were giving them a new place to look, a new life on a new level of enthusiasm for the home that they're living in.
Yes.
This is for a family or a person who's just moved into a subdivision.
And this is an example of a garage being right out front and center.
No sod. I'm waiting for the tumbleweeds to roll by there.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. That's the same place.
That's the same place.
Unbelievable.
It actually is
A
an
little further
estate property now. You know what I mean? It actually really.
Yes,
adds
of
it.
course.
Yeah.
So we're framing, bringing the eye in to the front door. The front door is curb appeal, if anyone wants to know. It is the definition of curb appeal.
That's your focal
Your
point.
eye should be led to the front door.
Right.
Welcoming you.
Yes.
But
That's
you
the
also
welcome
took
mat.
a very flat wall with not much in terms of texture or whatever. You almost disguised it, broke it up a little bit, but like you said, you brought it back around to the front.
Yes.
Very nice.
Very nice. So when we come back from the break, the part that I'm looking forward to is a lot of people are talking about they don't have the money, they don't have the time to have a cottage anymore, they don't have the time to get away. People are commuting, both spouses are working, maybe one or more jobs.
Yes.
And they want that place to come back to call their own, to tune out the world, to listen to some music, to have a drink or some family time. And it's really been termed the staycation.
Staycation.
So I'm looking forward to that when we come back with
too.
Audriana VanderWerf, who is the lead landscape designer at Bradford Greenhouse Garden Gallery. Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
And we're back with Audriana VanderWerf, and we've been looking at some homes and the changes from before and after with the landscaping, some amazing examples that you provided. I was out at one of the big box do-it-yourself stores yesterday, and it's only February, but I'm noticing all the barbecues, all the patio furniture, everything's out. And as we said before the break, one of the big things now is the staycation, like using your backyard, utilizing it more, because people
Absolutely.
just don't have the time to travel or the cost of a cottage.
That's right.
You've got your backyard.
That's
your
right.
palette there. So tell us a little bit about creating that environment.
Well, you pay taxes on all your property, so use your whole property
Exactly.
for your own enjoyment. Get outside. It's a few
great
steps
point.
away.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
People are turning their backyards into a reflection of their activities, of what they want to do.
Shouldn't be just
and
looked
the
at as a
kids too.
chore. Oh, I got to go cut the grass, and that's
No,
it, because
absolutely not.
There's so
Absolutely
much
not.
more you can do out there.
There is.
Yeah.
There
So,
is.
so what are you seeing as a trend? What way are things going?
People are looking for growing food, number one. And
That's the biggest thing that
that
people
is
are
the
doing?
biggest thing. But
Fantastic.
the nice thing about that, besides it being organic, is that it takes up so little room. And it can take up as much room as you want, or as little room as you want. They're
So
also
we're talking about herb gardens.
Yes.
We're talking about basic vegetables.
vegetable gardens.
Vegetable
yes,
gardens.
Yes. Also, patios and decks.
Yes.
People love to entertain. Bocce ball lawns. Some people are asking for putting greens. It is
Great.
really a place to go
an
outside in your own
entertainment
place.
center,
Yes.
Get away
That's
from
great.
the basement and the entertainment console.
Yes, get out.
And
yes.
there's so much more. Again, back to that big box store. There's just so much more product for furnishing that yard
Yeah.
and creating those activities in your yard.
There absolutely
than
is.
Even 10 years ago.
Are
Yes.
people incorporating the fire pit or the barbecue
Yes,
or the
still
outdoor
they are,
oven?
for sure. And I
Okay.
always recommend that to people with older teenagers. That is a great way to keep them home, let them entertain their friends.
You know where they
and
are.
you know where they
They're
are.
doing it
Yes.
safely.
Oh, we had
Yeah.
the pool when my kids were young, and I always knew where they were, and I always knew where their friends were, of course, too, because
Yes.
they were out at the pool. in the
Yes,
backyard.
excellent.
And is there a budget for, or is there a project for all budgets, really?
There is. I'm so glad you asked that. We were talking earlier about how landscaping can increase your home's value by 10 or 15%. And people are always, when I ask their budget, they don't know. So if you're okay with money and you don't mind investing in a proper landscape, what the average is to look at it 10% of the value of your home should be spent on the
Yes.
landscaping.
And
So-
you could break that up too, I would think, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would
A
think-
little bit this
Absolutely.
year, a bit next
Oh,
year.
wow,
you know.
yes, done in phases is,
I think what's really important, though, is that we did touch on the fact all too often people will detail their car, shampoo it, spit shine it, polish it, wax it, and then go sell it. And I think it's a real shame if you don't do it. I mean, I understand the importance of doing it to sell the home and to see some increased value, but I do think it's a shame when people don't actually do it and enjoy the home themselves. So
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
that's
a
right.
balance. I mean, that's not necessarily a
Doing it
realtor
for the next
question, that's a
person.
designer question.
Yes.
We do have a couple of examples that we want to touch on, and we don't have that much time, so why don't you take
Okay.
us through some of these staycations. This is a different example here.
yes. So this was a couple that moved into this home and called on me to let me know all the activities their family wanted to engage in while staying in this home. And we came
Beautiful
up
big
with
picture
this.
window looking out on that yard.
Beautiful. And the upper balcony did not have stairs down before, so now they do, and a little bit of a patio halfway down because you don't want it to look too
And
ominous.
that looks like fairly low maintenance, that garden, other than a little bit of weeding now and again.
Yeah, it
I want to
tears
ride on that
down.
slide. That's what I want to do.
From the upper deck right into the pool.
The slide goes
Oh,
into
boy.
an infinity pool so that they can just take their eye out to the lake.
I hate to say it,
Behind
but you took a very boring looking structure, you know, it's sort of a clear cut with nothing just sort of put on it, and you actually added value, life, atmosphere. You added a real
And that's the
sort
whole
of sense
idea.
of belonging and family and
Yeah.
warmth to it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a place that I would want to hang out. It's almost a country club.
Yes.
If you look at, let's
Yes,
take a look at the next
could
one, because
be.
that's certainly on one spectrum, end of the spectrum for as far as budget goes. And now we've got this one here,
That
obviously
looks
much more
like
modest. But
99% of the backyards I show in Barrie.
yeah.
And you know what? They say, what can be done? It's just a blank square, so what can be done? Well, this can be done.
Wow.
Wow.
There's your backyard oasis right there.
They have a raised wall, they have a pond, they have a gazebo, obviously, with a place for entertaining, and they have a little bit of
They
privacy
do.
now.
And now friends show up unannounced.
Yeah, but you've added the dimensions here. I mean, you added with that very small pond, but you've got the running water, which is
Yes.
so relaxing,
Yes.
right? For somebody after a high-stress week at work or whatever it may be.
It's really good energy to have that movement of the
Absolutely.
water.
Very nice. You got the interlock there as well as the natural stone.
Let's take a look at the next one because we really are pushing our time limits here.
Okay, so look at this house. Beyond the railing that you see there, there's another 70 feet of backyard that they
Wow.
were totally not taking
Yeah.
advantage of.
It's a tired deck. It looks like it's ready to be updated.
Listen, it's clean, it's neat, but it's yeah.
But it's not functional.
Look
offering
at the
anything.
comparison.
So now, from the same vantage point, you are taking advantage of that,
That
extra
is the same
70
angle.
feet. Yes.
Unbelievable.
You know what? Talk about enhancing a marriage here. If this is a couple, I mean, look at what they had before. Life is, you know, status quo, and then you come to this, and it's like you have a whole new level
Oh, yeah.
of energy and something to talk about, and inviting with
Exactly.
your friends and
Yes,
family, and
yes.
finally you're the ones who are hosting that, you know, July long weekend
Pride of
or
ownership.
Thanksgiving or something
Yeah.
like
You know,
that.
the number one thing I am told is I never would have thought of that. That's the
Never
number
would've
one
thought of
thing.
that.
Well, we
So-
become just so used to the daily grind. There could be that mark on the wall in your house that you walk past a million times till someone points it out to
Yes,
you. Usually when
that's
you're getting
right.
ready to sell, and you go, how did I not see that? You
That's
know,
right.
Because we get the blinders on.
And that's why just starting with a
Yes.
consult is,
I think you
Second set
just
of
sold
eyes.
the
Yeah.
whole point of hiring a designer, and it's
Yeah.
that one line.
Yes.
I never would have thought of that.
yes, that's
What a great way to wrap it up. I mean, honestly, thank you very much for bringing us
Thank
these.
you, too.
We have your contact information. Obviously, people will know in the community know who Bradford Greenhouse Garden Gallery
Yes.
is, and they can find your smiling face there
Yep.
all throughout. Now, starting now, right? You're open 360 whatever
yes,
days.
we are.
Yeah.
360.
360, well, I
Yep.
nailed that, didn't I? 360 days a year. So obviously they can talk to you, or bottom line though, that you're encouraging people, definitely have that conversation.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Start with that.
Excellent.
Now is the time to start planning for the projects, and
is.
I might as well put it out there, if you're selling your home, now's the time to start talking with your professional realtor, now's the time to come on in and speak with your mortgage broker or mortgage agent, because with every project there is a budget associated with it. Maybe before you go in and speak with Audriana, you want to know what your budget is.
And we're out of time, unfortunately. Thank you, Audriana, for joining us, and thank you for watching Hitting Home.